I'm going to bring on a legend on stage. Billy Selekane. He's with us. He's in the building. Who is he? Briefly, let me tell you. He doesn't like this, but I must tell you. Billy Selekane is an author, internationally acclaimed inspirational keynote speaker, personal team and organizational effectiveness specialist. He's the executive chairman of Billy Selekane and Associates, with associate footprint in Australia, Middle East, Singapore, Sweden, the UK, the USA, all the way from Tembisa to the world. He's the past president of PSASA, Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa, the first South African speaker to speak at the General Assembly NS USA Convention. I think that on its own deserves a round of applause. He has inspired over 30 million people globally on his keynotes, and the one which I know him from barefoot to snakeskin shoes. And he's got them on today. He's in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we show some love and put our hands together for the one and only, the legendary Billy Selekane.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. He's such an amazing guy. Please, let's give him a great hand. You know, they say all events will live or die at the hands of an MC. And if the MC is sloppy and sleeping, the event dies. If the MC is dynamic and amazing and powerful, the event rises and greatness begins to happen. Again, let's give him some respect. Alexandra, you know, I spent some time in Alexandra many, many years ago. When Tembisa did not like me anymore, I came to Alexandra, refocused my life and went back to Tembisa. So I am both a Tembisa guy and an Alexandra guy. And for me to be here today is such an amazing and a great pleasure. And especially to talk to young entrepreneurs and aspirant and very, very dedicated. And I can see amazing products out there. I hope I can sample some of them. If there's something nice to eat, I'm going to eat. Something nice to put on my face, I'm going to put on my face. Something nice to buy and wear, I'm going to buy and wear. Because we don't only have to show up, we have to support each other. So, I'm going to want us to make an agreement on a particular statement. So I'm going to tell you what it is. And each time I ask you this question, who are you? You're going to answer me in the statement that I'm going to share with you. Are we together? Right. So I want you to say, you are young, gifted, and black. Okay? So if I say, who are you? You must say what? Young, gifted, and black. Come on, guys. You know, every Thursday, they're going to send mama, so you know. And once in a while, they want some inspiration and they invite me. But hey, you know, when I get there, I get so excited. I say, you guys are young. They go, oh, we're young. I mean, come on. You know, you guys are better than that. Let's go again. Who are you? Young, again, who are you? Young, that's it. If there's one thing that you should never, ever forget, or that you should never, ever let anybody take away from you, is the fact that you're young, you're black, and you're gifted. And we're not gifted by default, but gifted by design. Because we're the cradle of human beings. And sadly, as Africans, we tend to forget that. You know, we created the world, and suddenly now, we don't even sit at the table of the world because we've forgotten who we are. Make sense? So I'm going to remind you who you are by telling you a story. Because I believe that human beings are no longer what I call human beings, where, you know, we used to be called Homo sapiens, but now we are Homo storians, which means our lives are defined by the stories of our lives. Does it make sense? That each and every one of you, when you wake up in the morning, you are writing a story. So the book of your life every morning is completely empty. And what you write in that book is going to give us two things. It's going to give us a very powerful and inspirational story that people want to follow, talk about, read, and share, or it's going to give us the worst story that nobody ever wants to talk about. Does it make sense? And every one of us has the exact same opportunity every day when we wake up. Because here's the deal. 24 hours is 1,440 minutes. Bill Clinton doesn't get more. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't get more. Elon Musk doesn't get more. Oprah Winfrey doesn't get more. Tiger Woods doesn't get more. Serena Williams does not get more. Cristiano Ronaldo does not get more. We all get exact amount of time. It is what we do with that time that makes the greatest difference. Does it make sense? So for us to get into that level of our lives where we understand this one profound truth, that we cannot and should not blame anybody for the outcomes of our lives. Does it make sense? Who are you? Come on, guys, give me some love. Who are you? Now we're talking. So I'm going to share with you this story. And this story happens in the middle of America. Now, the middle of America is called the food belt of America. That's where a lot of grains are grown. That's where a lot of livestock is reared. It's a very powerful farming community, middle of America. Now, one particular morning, this very super wealthy farmer wakes up, has breakfast, and walks away and opens for his animals to go and graze. When he was done opening for his animals to go and graze, he took a walk and went into a place called a barn. A barn is a massive structure where they keep hay that they feed to the animals. He went into the barn and started doing some work on the barn. Now, like all of us, we've got what you call a circadian clock. A circadian clock is your body clock. It's how your body operates. So if you're the kind of person that eats lunch at 12, from about 20 to 12, your body starts telling you, hey, I need to be fed. Does it make sense? And if you're the guy that eats it at 2, at 3, it doesn't matter. But once you've created this cycle around yourself, your body responds according to how your emotions and the physique feels. So as he's busy working, time for lunch hits because his body clock tells him that it is time for lunch. He says, man, I've not been here for a very long time. How can it be lunch so quickly? And he says to himself, let me confirm that indeed it's lunchtime. So he searches for a watch in his left pocket. He doesn't find it. He searches in his right pocket. He doesn't find it. He thinks, this is very interesting. And why is it interesting? Because he never, ever leaves this watch behind. So he quickly says, well, I'm going to eat anyway. And then he walks into the house, and the first thing that he does is to look for the watch at the breakfast table, and the watch is not there. Then he goes back to his bedroom. On the side of his table, the watch is not there. Now, one would wonder, why would such a wealthy and powerful farmer be so worried about a watch? Well, the story of the watch is quite simple. It's what's called a family heirloom. So this farm that he's running, he's the 5th generation farmer. And each time this farm changes hands, the watch must also change hands. Does it make sense? So he thinks maybe as I was walking to go and open for my animals, I dropped it. He took the same path that he took and he couldn't find it. Then I thought, I'm going to go back to the barn because that's where I've been carrying a lot of stuff. He goes into the barn, he searches for the watch, he does not find it. And he makes his way back home again. On his way to his house, he hears a group of young people playing around from a distance. And he calls these young people, about 14 of them, and they come and he says to them, young people, I've got a challenge, and I believe you can help me solve this challenge. And he says to them, I've lost a watch. And he describes exactly how this watch looks like. He says, I believe I lost the watch in that barn. And if any of you finds this watch, I will give him $100. Now, for young people, $100 is a lot of money. Now, 14 of these young men, they run crazy back into this barn. They turn this barn upside down for about 2 hours, and then they come back. And they say, sir, we're very sorry, we can't find it. And his day begins to change. His heart begins to feel the worst of pain. Then he goes into his house and he sits. And in about 2 minutes, he hears a very big knock on the door. Doof, doof, doof. And he goes and opens the door. He finds one young man who was part of the group. And he says to this young man, how can I help you? And this young man looks at him and says, sir, can you please give me an opportunity to go and search for this watch again? And the farmer looks at this young man and says, but you and 13 of your friends could not find this watch. What makes you believe that you will find it on your own? And this young man looks at this farmer and said, you know, sir, when you offered us the $100, me and my friends, we rushed in there. We didn't have a plan. We just rushed in there because we're a group, we belong to a group. We just do things because the other people are doing them without thinking. And he said, once we played around there and tried to search for this watch with no plan, with no passion, with no enthusiasm, when we walked away with my friends, something dawned on me that I personally have a dream. Not a dream with this group of guys. I individually have a dream. And if I get that $100, it will sow a seed that will make sure that my dream becomes true. And he said, sir, what I thought about was I'm going to come and ask for a second chance. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world of second chances. Some of you might have started a business that has failed. Some of you might have failed matric like I did many, many years ago. Actually, I didn't fail matric. I got an S in matric. You know what S means? Yes? It means school living. It means everybody goes to university taking on this side. You must go drive a taxi or do something this side, It means you can't do this education thing. I'll keep throwing the story in as we continue. So this old man looks at this young man and says, well, knock yourself out. And the young man goes into the barn and he begins to search. And the old man is sitting in his kitchen. And he's just worried. His heart is dark. How is he going to explain to his son what happened to this amazing, amazing family heirloom? And in about 45 minutes, he hears the loudest knock on his door. And when he opens up, is this young man, and he stretches his hand, and there's a watch in the middle of the hand. The old man grabs the watch, reaches out in his back pocket, pulls out all the money that he had, and he hands it over to this young man. The young man grabs the money. As he's running off, the old man says, "Wait a minute, before you run off, I want you to explain to me how you, in less than an hour alone, you were able to find this watch when you and your friends, 13 other friends of yours, for 2 hours you couldn't find it." And the young man tells a beautiful story. He said, "You know, sir, when I got inside the barn, I looked for a central place. I looked for a place exactly in the middle of that building. And he said, once I found this place, he said, I closed my eyes. He said, I removed all the noise and the light on my head, and I connected my head and my heart. And he said, all I wanted to hear was the sound of a ticking watch. He says, I focused deeply, and my mind was completely blank. I had no noise. And he said, within a very far distance, I could hear very faintly, tick-tock, tick-tock. He said, I focused even deeper, and I could hear this sound, tick-tock, tick-tock. He said, I stood up, I went to the general direction where I had this noise. I sat down again, connected my head and my heart, and removed all the noise. And he said, suddenly, the noise became louder, tick-tock, tick-tock. He said, I reached out, and that's how I found the watch. Now, what can we learn from this story? I'm going to share with you 5 principles that we can learn from this story. And I believe that if you take these principles and go back and relook at both your life and your business, I promise you there'll be a movement, there'll be a shift in your life and in your business. So the first principle we learn from this story is the principle of purpose. Now, each and every one of us, we were not born accidentally, we were born intentionally. And there are 2 very important days in our lives. It is the day that we were born and the day that we found out why we were born. Those are 2 important days. So this young man had a purpose, and his purpose was driven by his vision. And he knew that for his purpose to be made manifest, he had to risk. He had to shift away from the group of friends that he had and go and confront an opportunity that was there, that for the first time when he saw it, he did not take it to heart. Like some of you are here today. This is a great opportunity. We never had these kind of things when I was growing up. We were literally on our own. There was no Google, there was no Netflix, there was nothing. We were literally on our own. And some of you are here just to come and check things out and think, lento lezi azispan, it is about what to Ataman Bank, bazovaya, and then everything goes back to scratch. Well, here's the thing. Whatever happens to you today depends on this one profound truth about your life. Do you understand your purpose? And purpose speaks about original intent, because every one of us was brought on planet Earth to fulfill a particular commission. We call it the Celestial Commission. Now, that's what we learned from this young man. His purpose was so powerful that he was willing to move away from his friends. Now, here's the truth. How many of you have moved away from your friends that are holding you back? How many of you have moved away from friends that each time you tell them your dream, they say to you, you'll not make it, and they give you examples of people who never made it? But they never ever share with you examples of people who made it. How many of you are willing to do that? And until and unless you're willing to do that, you'll never build any significant business in your life. That's the first thing we learn from this young man. We learn purpose. The second principle we learn from this young man is passion. He was so passionate about his vision and his purpose that he was willing to put in the extra work of going individually to go and search for the watch in a massive, probably 10 times the size of this room, and the watch was this size. He was willing to go and search for a watch this small. He was passionate enough to go and expose himself to the hardest thing that he ever did in his life. And the question is, how passionate are you about your dream, about your business, about your life? Because I can tell you now, there's nothing great that has ever been achieved without passion. And each time when we talk about passion, people think passion is about red roses, Valentines and big teddy bears. Some of you, I know you didn't get the roses. What can I say? Life is tough. These things happen. I sympathize with you. Now don't. Just chill, you know. Now, the word passion finds in its origin, etymology is the study of the origin of words and concepts. Now, passion finds its origin in the Greek word called pashko. And the meaning of the word pashko, it means the willingness to feel the pain for and the willingness to die for. So if somebody says they're passionate about their business, I'm thinking, oh, are you really passionate, my man? Are you willing to do what you're doing every day, even if you know that nobody's going to pay you? Are you willing to show up and be ridiculed and be called names because you are passionate about what you're pursuing? And if you're not willing to do that, then, hey, you're not going to make it happen. I've been in the speaking industry for 25 years now. And every time I get people that says to me, Mr. Selekane, I want to become a speaker, mentor me, mentor me. I say, okay, you want to speak? Do me a favor. Get a friend of yours and a phone. We all have phones, isn't it? That have got cameras. Go to pen. I want a pen. Find a spot and start speaking and let your friend video you, send me that video, and then we can take it from there. How many people do you think have sent me a video? Nobody. Because everybody wants the quickest way into the next podium. Everybody thinks coming onto the stage, it's easy. Oh, we get in there and we just talk, and oh, we get given nice gifts and whatever. It's not easy. You've got to prepare yourself. You've got to work hard. You've got to read. You've got to research. You've got to get a coach. You've got to fail, not fail once, not fail twice, not fail 3 times. You've got to fail many, many times. You've got to fail so badly that failure looks at you and says, man, I'm tired of you. Sends an email to success and says, take this person, make them successful. That's how much you must be willing to fail. If you're not willing to fail that much, then you don't deserve to become successful. Who are you? Oh, you guys are sleeping. Oh, my God. Let's go again. Who are you? Beautiful. So the second principle we learn is the principle of purpose. The third principle we learn is the principle of positioning. Now, positioning has to do with what we call your brand. And some of you have this illusion about branding. You think branding is your nice cut and paste hair and your fake Gucci, whatever. That's not branding. That's just items that adorn a human body. Your branding is the little experiences that you give to other people. And your brand is not what you tell people it is. It's what people say you are. Because your brand is your essence and your truth. So when we speak about positioning, I usually say to people, where do I find you? Where are you positioned? Are you positioned at a tavern? Are you positioned at a shebeen? Are you positioned where people are talking about other people instead of concepts and ideas? Where do I find you? That's positioning. That's what this young man said. This young man said, sir, I searched for a place in the middle of the barn. He positioned himself in a place where his ears could get the complete sound of the room. That's what branding is all about. That's what positioning is all about. Where do we find you? Your branding and your positioning is what I call your train station. It's your place of integrity. And if you don't have a place of integrity, if, in January you do stationery, and then my Pele stationery, then you do an event for Valentine. And then my Pele event for Valentine, then you're preparing an event for the 16th of June. What are you doing? What is your business? How are you contributing? Now, here's the thing about us South Africans. We romanticize entrepreneurship. We think it's a romantic thing. It's a nice, I'm going to have a business card. I'm going to wear those socks. What do they call them? Yes, the happy socks. And I'm going to go to the Mug and Bean with my laptop. Then I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah. And some people call themselves, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's amazing. So what does it mean? So I said, no, Mr. Selekane, I've got this business, that business. I said, wow. I said, so how much did you turn over last year? Last year, no, but at least give me 3,000 rand, you guys are 5,000 rand. And I said, listen, Charlie, go and look for a job. Go and look for a job and learn the discipline of working before you start. You don't have a business. And we must be honest about the fact that this journey, it's not for everybody, guys. And here's the truth. It does not mean if you're not an entrepreneur, you'll not be able to create wealth. Wealth creation is available to everybody. Entrepreneurship is not meant for the faint-hearted. It is a tough path. And unless you're willing to fail and fall and lose friends, and your girlfriend that you promised to marry runs away with another guy with a faster car than yours, until you're willing to go through those stuff, you are not worth wearing the badge of an entrepreneur. So this young man said, I found a place and I positioned myself. Now let me share with you the power of positioning. Let's make an example with the retail world. I'm about to say some very strange things, and this thing is on video, is live. But one thing I like about South Africans, we don't sue each other, you know. So I'm going to say some funny things about some brands. And I know they're not going to sue me because this is South Africa. But, I mean, sue me, sue Billy Selekane. Are you kidding? Do other serious things, you know. Do other things and just leave me. I'm a guy from Tembisa, you know what I mean? So I'm going to make an example. When it talks about positioning, we're going to use local retail brands. We're going to look at 3 brands. We're going to look at Checkers. We're going to look at Spar. We're going to look at Woolworths. So let's start with Checkers. What do you believe is Checkers positioning in the market? What is their brand positioning? Checkers. Cheap. Here we go. Checkers. Kini shelf for like a shop last stock. End of story. No sophistication at all. You buy, you go, you're out. Okay? Let's look at Spar. What is Spar's brand positioning? Spar. Convenience. Because my i6 goes Spar for 62 rand or something. Yes? Because they know you don't want those eggs. You need them. So it's a convenience store. So that's why everything is multiplied by 4. Go Spar. Let's talk about Woolworths. What is Woolworths positioning? Quality. Isn't it amazing? So you guys are really brand savvy. You understand these brands. So now, all these 3 brands, they have what we call a delicacy. A delicacy is where they sell hot food. All of them. Spar sells hot food, Pick and Pay, Checkers sells hot food, and Woolworths sells hot food. Now, once in a while, I have an opportunity to go to a Woolworths, you know, and to go to the deli, and to buy chicken, you know, because I like chicken. You know, I'm a darkie, we like chickens, we can't help it, you know. So, when I go to that Woolworths delicacy, you know, and I look at these chickens, they are nicely packed. And those ladies, they are wearing that head here, and the CSI gloves, you know what I mean? And everything is organized. So I make up a story. I'm thinking, oh my God, these chickens are amazing. Where do they come from? Because isn't it that Woolworths, they say everything is organic. So I create this story in my head because this is an organic chicken. I'm thinking the farm where these chickens are bred, it's a beautiful farm. The grass is green. You know, the sprinklers are going, and the chickens are just doing their thing, you know? And I'm thinking, so when they guillotine them, what happens? And I'm thinking they play classical music. And these chickens just make a nice straight line with no worries at all to be guillotined, you know? And then I imagine what kind of truck delivers this chicken. Have you guys seen the trucks that delivers Woolworths stuff? It's written organic. It's a black truck. It's written organic, yes? The tires are good. It doesn't smoke. The driver is good. He's very compliant. And they have like a lift at the back, yes? So I imagine they park at the back of a Woolworths, and that lift goes bzzz, they put those chickens here, then they take them in a little trolley, they give them to those ladies. Now those chickens, they get put in that machine. The machine that goes like this. They stack them nicely. They press the machine, then the machine goes crazy, and they put them there. Now when you buy this chicken, it's an experience. You don't just show up and buy a Woolworths chicken. It's an experience, guys. It's a complete branding experience. Now, by the way, if you look at the ambience of a Spar, a Checkers, and a Woolworths, completely different. A Checkers get cheese, it's very hot. Have you realized? Checkers is like very, very hot. A Spar get pitizelo, you know, everybody's in a hurry. But have you seen Woolworths, the air at Woolworths? Have you experienced that? One can enjoy Woolworths, there's this air, you know, just this unbelievable air. And have you seen people in Woolworths, they don't greet each other, hey, Kunjana, make noise, they just shake their heads like this. I mean, it's like... It's like everything is quality. There's like, you can't live. I mean, air checkers. Have you seen those ladies about clean air checkers? Who clean the floor there? So one day I'm getting there and I'm thinking, I need to go, but there's water all over. I'm thinking, I'll do this, you know? And this lady watches me, says, Nanguche, so pes guamans. Oh my God. That's Checkers for you. It's rough there, claro, you know. But I can imagine if it was Woolworths, they were going to say, sir, please move this way. You know, please be careful. You might slip and fall. You know, but the Checkers get for you. So when you buy this Woolworths chicken, it's an experience. You don't just go and buy that Woolworths chicken. So I usually go there and I greet these ladies and they answer me very nicely. And I say to them, I'd like to have a relationship with that chicken and that chicken. And they take, what do you call this thing? Like a tweezer, tongs, you know? They take the chicken, they put it on top of the scale, and the scale spits out a price. And they take that brown paper, which is insulated inside. They take this chicken and they put it in. You must go and watch it. They fold it 3 times. Because everything in Woolworths is scripted. It's a script. Standard operational procedure. They fold it 3 times and they take that price tag, they put it exactly in the middle. And then they take a plastic and they put that thing in the plastic so that it stays moist. Isn't that fascinating? And then they don't give it to you. They present it to you. Because this is experience, guys. You don't get it. This is brand experience. And when they present it to me, I accept it, And then I put it in the trolley, and I walk, and I pay, and I take these beautiful organic chickens, put them at the back of my car, drive 60 in a 60 zone, because this is organic chickens I have here, 80 in an 80 zone. I get to my place. How do I eat it? I reverse engineer the process. That kept it moist. And I take the price tag and I unfold it 3 times, exactly the way, because they fold it 3 times. You don't just tear this Woolworths paper. It's like quality stuff, this. Then the chicken starts smelling nicely, and I put it in a mat, and I take a shear, iskero. You know what a shear is? Not the skero, let's also drop in one. Sasa drop in is called a Caesar. This one is called a shear, Yeah. And then I cut the meat, and I put it, and I make a little prayer, and then I enjoy my meat. Now, guys, I don't know about you. Have you seen the chicken from Checkers? The chicken from Checkers is like this. It's like imnyama sola, And have you seen the ladies that are selling that? These are the big ladies. They don't take shit from anybody. It's like, oh my God, And when you say you want this chicken, what do? They take out their fork and they go on the chicken. And have you seen the packaging from the chicken as a Checkers? It's a plastic that has a handle. They throw it in there, it's got a zip line, and it's got a handle. So what are the implications? The people who buy the chicken from Checkers are always on the run, so so they've got to keep it there. Now think about it. These are the 3 positioning that I've given you. The Woolworths chicken, the Checkers chicken, the Spar chicken. Well, what can you say? Yes, Spar is very quickly. So when you look at Woolworths, you look at Checkers, you look at Spar, you look at yourself. You look at your own personal brand. You look at the brand that you're building. What is the perception that people have about your brand? Do they see it as a Spar? Do they see it as a Checkers? Or do they see it as a Woolworths? It's all about positioning. And like I'm saying, it's not the clothes that you wear, it's how you wear them. It's not how expensive your website is, it's how it is designed. Does it make sense? It's always about the little nuances that makes the big difference. So the third thing that we learn from this young man is positioning. So I'm going to ask you again, how is your business positioned in the market that you're in? Are you one of the people that is doing this thing because you saw somebody else doing it? Or does it come from a place of passion and a place of purpose and a place of love? If it doesn't come from that place, I can promise you, you're never going to become successful. Because most people believe that success is money. Well, you see, money is a tool that gets used to manifest a lot of different dreams. Money in itself is not the end. And if you think it's about money, I wish you could get you could make so much money so quickly, so that you can quickly realize that it's not about money ultimately. The 4th thing that we learn from this young man is performance. Now, when he and his friends came, there was no coordinated performance. Everybody was doing what they wanted. It was just a mess. They turned this place upside down. But this young man knew that when he came back for the 2nd time, he has to perform differently. He had to do things differently. Now, when it comes to performance, how is your business and how are you personally? When you go to a Steers or whatever, these takeaways, or Kentucky, sometimes when you get there, it's as if you're interfering with the lives of the people that work there. Have you realized that? It's like they think like ufunani, like kind of a thing, But they're working to serve customers. So your performance should not be dependent on who's around you. Because I say to people, you never know who you're sitting next to. Even today, here. You don't know who you're sitting next to. You don't know what connection they have. You don't know how powerful they are. And today, when they leave, they're going to leave with an impression about you. They're going to leave with an impression about your brand. And they're going to watch how interactive and how much you were engaged in this process. Maybe they wanted you to become a partner, but they think, this guy, since I feel nje uthulile, maringe lunch, we begamba phambili. People watch those kind of little things. They actually did a study in the USA. There's a piano concert pianist from Israel. He had a big show happening at the Met in New York. And the cheapest ticket was $450, the cheapest ticket. So the most expensive ticket was $8,000. So what they did with this guy, they took a grand piano and they put it at Central Park, in the middle of Central Park. And they put some scientific stuff in his body and he wore a t-shirt and stuff like that. And they said he must play the whole set of the set that he's going to play in the evening. But they never told anybody who this guy was. And people were just going past. Some people would drop $1, whatever. At the end of that performance, they collected only $81. $81. Then he went into the evening where people wanted tickets to go and watch him. And tickets were sold out. And he performed. They put the same stuff in him, but this time he was dressed in a tuxedo. There was a full audience. And when he performed, and when they looked at the data was exactly the same. He performed exactly the same when nobody knew him, exactly the same where people came to watch him. So what does it say? Performance is not circumstantial or conditional. You have to perform all the time. Does it make sense? They give you the smallest task, show up with the biggest attitude. Because the smallest tasks open up a path for the bigger tasks. Does it make sense? Because I've had people that says, you know, we work a lot with the corporate world. Somebody says, when I'm a manager, I'm going to do. I say, then you're not going to become a manager. Because you've got to start thinking, believing, and behaving like a manager now, so that when that opportunity comes, they just pick you because already you are playing that role. Does it make sense? It's like somebody says, I'm going to give when I have money. You are not going to give when you have money. If you cannot give when you don't have money, what makes you think you're going to give when you have money? Does it make sense? Unless you're a schizophrenic person. The nature of who we are, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. Like I'm saying, unless you're a schizophrenic, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So that's the fourth principle we learn from this young man, performance. The last principle is about persistence. Khotello, you know, am I right? Persistence ki khotello, ukubegazela. Now, this young man had 13 friends. And probably some of his friends came from very wealthy families, I don't know. But he realized that if I stick with these friends of mine, with this mob psychology, I'm never going to achieve my dreams. I'm never going to manifest the greatness that God wants me to manifest because I'm hidden inside a group of people. Does it make sense? How many of you are hidden inside a group of people? And sometimes when you hear people speaking, you can hear they belong to a group. When somebody's late, you ask them, why are you late? I say late, ngoba. But I'm thinking you're alone. You know, when an obani, you know, it's like it's you. I'm asking you the question. Now, when we talk about persistence, ladies and gentlemen, I said to you earlier on, I dropped a little hint that I had an S in metric. So, December, our results came December because things were working. Things don't work anymore. Your results come almost before Easter, isn't it? It's a metric, if you are lucky. Because, I mean, Jesus, I'm saying strange things. I'm going to be sued. Am I going to be sued? You guys are going to do it for me, yes? Cool, let's do this. So, when our results were published, the day before the results were published, there were two kinds of people who were anxious. The first group was, how many A's do I have? Maybe I've got a B in maths. So that's the happy group. Then the next group, we're just praying that our name appears. Ama A, nama B, sawabona phambili. Sifuna nje igama ephepheni. That's all we want, you know. So the day before the publication of the newspaper, we don't sleep. And we see at 4 o'clock, outside the shops where they deliver newspapers. And on that day, everybody buys themselves a copy. Nobody wants to see anybody's copy. So on that day, we're all excited to go there. We buy newspapers. I buy my paper. I go to my to alphabets. I look, S. I don't see my surname. So I'm thinking, You know, sometimes your brain will play very funny tricks with you. You know, so I'm thinking, this is not the right paper. I drop this paper and I run to another township to go and buy the right paper. You know? Because in my head, I'm thinking, my name has to show up somewhere. You know, I get to this place, I buy the newspaper. Now I look for somebody who sees better than me. And I get this specs. Then I say, Billy Selekane, and the funniest thing happens, she's wearing glasses. She takes off the glasses and she pushes the paper that far. Have you seen how these things work? I'm thinking, I thought the glasses make things bigger. And she pushes out there, and eventually my name is not there. But you know what we do? We always search for people that are going through the same issues. We don't want to go to people where things are happening. So I'm thinking, there must be people who feel like me, who are going through the same thing like me. I must find these people quickly. And you know why I want to find them? Because we're going to organize a pity party. You know what a pity party is? We're going to blame the teachers, we're going to blame the government, not ourselves. No. They don't like us, these people. So I sat with my friends and we did this pity party. But I'm going to tell you, And already there's a rumor that my name is not on the paper. But that rumor is true. My name is not on the paper. It's not a rumor. It's information that will come in reality very late, but it has happened. So eventually I'm bold, I go home, you know. You know that kind of an attitude. I'm going to pull once. And when I walked in there, nobody said anything. And I thought, this is cool. Then I went and I started playing music. Because, you know, we are Africans, we're very musical. When we're sad, we listen to music. When we're happy, we listen to music. I think Africans, we sing too much. And we think too little. I'm being honest. If you go to churches, people sing. They sing for 2 hours and they get taught for 45 minutes. Africans are just singing everywhere. You go to an ANC conference, everywhere. There's no thinking happening. So I listened to a song, you know. And this song literally changed my life. Now this song, the singer was born as a very poor black boy, but he died a very rich white woman. Yes, he was born a poor black boy. He died a very rich white woman. You know, his name is Michael Jackson. So the song that really changed my life, and this is no joke, is a song called Man in the Mirror. You know, there's this part of the song that says, I'm starting with a man in the mirror. I'm asking if he'll change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make this life a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. And there, and that one moment, I realized that, you know what, it's not the teachers, not the government, it's not everybody else. I have to get my act together. And, you know, it reminded me of the words of one of my teachers, and I'm going to test it with you if that is true. I remember one of my teachers said to me that knowledge is power. How many of you believe that knowledge is power? Please raise your hands. Please go and fetch your school fees back. Because knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. So many people know, yet so few people do. So I realized that I don't have to only learn, I must learn how to do. And then I realized that, okay, what is it that I can do which is within my gift? Let me tell you, all of us here know what our gifts are. Some of you, your gift, but your mother wants you to be a lawyer. But your mother is the queen cake boss. Was one episode of Cake Boss. And Cake Boss is a multi-millionaire by baking beautiful cakes. So your gift, your mother shifted aside, because the saddest thing about parents is most parents want to live their failed dreams through their children. I hope you don't do that. I mean, you'll find your father failed matric, wants you to become a doctor. Duh, where does he think your brain come from? He matric showed in flames, and he wants you to be a lawyer. I'm thinking, are you crazy? You know, 23, 40 chromosomes are running in my system. You think I can be a genius overnight. It never happens. The apple falls exactly next to what? To the tree. You know, that's how these things work. So what I did for myself, I said, I needed to find something that's within my gift, something that I believe I do natural. And the one natural thing that I knew I could do, because people used to tell me, was I'm good at listening to people and I'm good at inspiring people. People would say, each time we come to you, you've got issues, you listen, then you give us solutions. Then I thought, wow, then if I read, learn the knowledge from the books, and apply it, where? To myself first. Because you have to become the case study before you tell people they can do stuff. You can't tell people, you know, you must climb Kilimanjaro when Alexandra, you know, Wesbank, but you're telling people to climb Kilimanjaro. So for me, it began with my finding my true essence and my gift. That's what I'm saying to you. Each and every one of you, you were not born accidentally. You were born intentionally. 2 very critical days of your life. The first day is when you were born. The second one, it's when you find out why you were born. Now I'm going to share with you some business principles that I want you to carry with you as you build your business. And this concept, it's a concept that is based on a Japanese concept called the Ikigai, but I took it and then I transformed it into a business process. So I hope you take notes, because this is like real good stuff. So there are 4 simple things that each and every one of you, going onwards from today, need to ask yourself. 4 very simple questions that you need to ask yourself to check if your business that you're doing is the right business that you need to do. The first question is, what problem are you solving? What problem are you solving through your product or your service? Because the greatest entrepreneurs on planet Earth solved problems. What problem are you solving with your product or your service? The second question that you need to ask yourself is, who are you solving this problem for and why? Who are you solving this problem for and why? Same sentence. Do they know they have this problem? These people that you're trying to help solve. Or do you need to raise their level of consciousness for them to understand that they have this problem that you're trying to solve for them? It's question number 2. Number 3, is your product or your service a one-to-one or a one-to-many? Now, I need to explain what that means. One-to-one is making nails. Does it make sense? One-to-one is a hairdresser doing one person's head. One-to-many is producing water that can be bought by many people at the same time. Does it make sense? You've got to ask yourself that question. Is your business one-to-one or one-to-many? And then in that same question, you've got to ask yourself about the scalability of your business. Can your business or your product be scalable? It means, can this product or service that you have be multiplied in different places without you being there? In the same, number 3, is your business going to be a brick and mortar, digital, or hybrid? Let me explain what I mean. This is a brick and mortar business. Does it make sense? It's got doors, it's got everything. It's a brick and mortar business. And a hybrid business is a business that can operate both physically and online. My business is hybrid. You know, I stand on stage and I speak, but people go to my site and they buy products. We've got products that we're delivering online. So my business is not a brick and mortar business. It's hybrid, which means I can land in any country, anywhere in the world, and still do my business. Does it make sense? So ask yourself, the business that you're starting now or the one that you have, can you scale it or can you do it in any country in the world without having to put in a lot of capital? The fourth question and the last one is, are you a craftsman or a craftswoman? Now let me explain what that is. So when you buy a watch, there's a watch and then there's a timepiece. These things are not the same. A watch is the one that you okay, let's see. Who's wearing a watch? My chief. How's it? What watch are you wearing? Leia said buy one, get 10 free. What is it? Yeah? Fossil. So Fossil, it's a mass-based product. Does it make sense? So it is not made by a craftsman or a craftswoman. It's a machine process. Somebody designed it, they put a machine, and they put it in a factory, and they produce a lot of it. Now, there's a watch called Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe gets made by craftsmen or craftswomen. Other Patek Philippe, you can buy them, but others you cannot buy them. You can only buy it per invitation. Does it make sense? They have to invite you to buy it because the level of craftsmanship is so high, the price is crazy. I mean, the most expensive Patek Philippe in the world is $15 million. That's a watch. 4 o'clock is 4 o'clock on that watch, you know. But because of who made it, that's what makes the price big. Now, your business, are you a craftsman or a craftswoman? Are you so amazing at what you do that you can put premium price on it? Does it make sense? That, you know, you Chicken Licken and Nando's and Kentucky, they are not priced the same way, am I right? They are priced differently. Like Woolworths and Spar and Checkers, they are priced differently. So you've got to ask yourself this question. Are you just one of the people that are doing what you're doing, or are you the best of the best? And I believe you've got to want to be the best of the best because we're living in a world that is very competitive. Now, another question that you need to ask yourself, can you outsource the production of what you are building? Because if you have a product, you have to eventually decide whether you're the marketing company of the product or you're the production company of the product. Does it make sense? Now, Coca-Cola does not produce Coca-Cola. Do you guys know that? Coca-Cola sells the lines of production to people in different countries. They own the marketing, the brand Coca-Cola. Actually, the brand Coca-Cola is more in value than the fridges and the trucks and the drinks that you find because they've decided that they're going to get into that. Let me give an example. McDonald's. What business do you think McDonald's is in? Yes, McDonald's started selling burgers, then they moved to service, then they realized that there's money in property. So they sell you the concept of making burgers in their own property. They don't sell you the property. So they are the third biggest property company in the world because they've seen property. Nike. A lot of people used to think that Nike makes shoes and trousers and whatever. No. Nike is not in the apparel business anymore. Nike is in the inspiration business. They say they inspire champions. They say where champions pick up the gold medal, Nike must be visible. That's their business. So you've got to ask yourself, what really is your business? Because if you don't ask yourself this question, you're going to find yourself in trouble. Now, there are a lot of guys, I haven't seen some of the products, but one of the things that you've got to ask yourself is, are you selling the singer or are you selling the song? Okay, so let me explain it to you. There's one of me and there's 24 hours. Am I right? How many places can I be in one day? Not so many places. So how do I extend myself? I extend myself through my digital products, through my books, my videos, my online coaching programs, so that as I'm sitting here, does it make sense? Because I'm not selling the singer, but I'm selling the song. And not only one song, but many, many other songs. Does it make sense? And some of the songs I'm selling are not my songs. I just went into a collaboration with other people. So as a business person, you've got to ask yourself, am I going to be this person that operates from Make Rush until I die? Am I going to become a sponsor shop until I die? Or do I need to begin to think differently? And with the advent of the fourth industrial revolution, you have to think differently. You've got no choice. If you have a brick and mortar business, you've got to think, how do I make my business hybrid? How do I take this business here and put it out into the street? How do I not stop serving people in here, but I can also host parties, I can do catering, I can do all those kind of things. That's multiplying and scaling your business. Does it make sense? So those are the 4 lessons that I've shared with you from the business perspective, but let's go back to my story. What I've shared with you was the first important thing is you've got to find and understand your purpose. Secondly, you've got to be passionate about it. Thirdly, you've got to position yourself in a place where your brand becomes powerful. Number 4, you've got to perform, even if there are no people watching you. And number 5, you've got to be persistent. And when you talk about persistence, in closing, I'm going to share with you this beautiful story of the Chinese bamboo tree. Now, there was this man who bought a very big piece of land. Then he went and he bought the seeds of a bamboo tree. Then he put the seeds in the grass, he put manure, he started watering. And his friends came to him, year number 1, they said, hey, my man, what's happening with your business? He says, no, I'm still watering my bamboo tree. That's year number 1. Year number 2, the friends came. They still saw nothing. They started laughing at him and said, you are an illusion. You're crazy, it's not going to happen. Year 3, he still said the same thing. I'm watering my bamboo. Year 4, there was nothing. Year 5, at the end of year 5, it took only 5 weeks for the bamboo tree to shoot from the ground and to be fully matured. So some of you are busy watering your bamboo tree, and people are going to come and call you names. They're going to tell you, we don't see what you're doing. Keep watering your bamboo tree. Because when the time is right, when your bamboo tree grows, you will begin to create wealth and impact the world. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, one more time, let's put our hands together for Dr. Billy Selekane. Check. We've got a gift for you. But before we give you your gift, we need a picture of you. Right here. All right, so if you just stand right here. Yeah. Must I smile or? No. All right, so what's going to happen now is we're going to do a Q&A with Billy Selekane. We just check. Devil is a liar. Are we okay? All right, so we're going to do a Q&A, but before we do that, we have I feel like I want to giveaways. We have a gift. This is on behalf of T and Nedbank as well. So everything that's inside. It's not. It's the passion. No. So every single item that is in here has been bought from the exhibitors today. It's not something that we bought out and brought in. So, showing love to the exhibitors, I think, is important. A big thank you to our sponsors and our partners who make this possible. It's not just talk to come and exhibit, but we want to buy, we want to share, we want to show the love. Thank you so much. Give a massive round of applause one more time. So what we're going to do now is But I also want to give away a prize. Please can I have a shirt. Please take a seat. All right, this is for social media participation. There are many of you are tweeting, you're Instagram, and you're Facebooking, but there's a particular individual, Chef Naledi. Are you here? Chef Naledi, are you so shy? You like, this is for your activity on Instagram. Thank you so much for showing us love. Well-renowned and respected chef, please come to the front and get yourself a t-shirt. Thank you. All right, I also want to give away another prize. Oh no, I'll do it after our session. Do any of you have a question for the legend himself? So I'm only going to take about 3 because of time. Yes, I saw you stand up. Yes, there's a question here. And then last one, going once, going twice. All right, my sister, I see you. Okay, we're going to make it 4. Your name, question, and then Mr. Billy, it'll be over to you. But I want to ask you very quickly. Today our theme is solutions to load shedding. And I think we've got many entrepreneurs here that some businesses are not doing well. They're struggling. The complexity, even with the schedule, that's not working. And you do quite a lot of work with big corporates, multinationals, etc. How do you navigate that, and what advice would you give to an entrepreneur who's probably on the verge of giving up due to this pandemic that we're facing?
Yeah, guys, this is a very complex situation we're facing. But it makes us want to think differently and be ingenious, depending on what business you're in. So, Chef Naledi, I'll make an example, Kawena. I did not know you're a chef. I'm a sort of a chef, you know, when nobody sees me. So, for example, if you're in the food business, you've got to find 4 or 5 other people that are in the same business like you. You've got to learn to capacitate yourself by sharing resources, okay? Because now this load shedding, I get it on Magadi section. You find this other one is between 2 and 4, whatever. So if all 4 or 5 of you have got places to cook food, why not maximize that time and go to one person's place at a particular time and cook from there? And then the stock, you know, you've got to find a way to collaborate. This is not a solo sport anymore. And business was never a solo sport, by the way. We've got to learn to collaborate. So the only way we beat this thing, there's no quick solution, but we have to be ingenious. You know, do we buy stock and keep it? Do we only buy stock when people want it? Do we teach our consumers how to buy? Because you've got to teach your consumers, you've got to say to them, listen, today order food for tomorrow because we're cooking between 10 and 12. So now you've changed your business. More people order online. Between 10 and 12, they come and pick up. We've got to find those kind of ingenious solutions. But it's a complex problem. But I believe those little ideas can make a difference here.
Thank you, sir. All right, if you had your hand up and you wanted to ask a question, please come to the front. My sister wearing the pink, please come to the front. My sister with the black dress, black, and please come to the front as well, my brother. Let's make it quick. Good, sir, how are you? Good, good. We've been looking for you, Mr. Arnold. We'll see you. All right, Chef Naledi, please come to the front as well. You'll stand, okay. Name, straight to the question. Cool.
Dr. Selekane, thank you very much for the presentation. Lovely, very lovely stuff. So the question is, you gave that example about Woolworths, Checkers, and Spar. And I think the impression that I got is that all businesses should emulate to become a Woolworths. Now, you know, Spar still has customers, and Checkers still has customers, and they fit in and talks about your positioning. Should we all emulate to become a Woolworths, or if you position yourself to become a Spar and make money in the position that you are, is that a bad thing? I'll give an example. There's a guy, Komafikeng, where I come from, Oriksan Chibuku, and he makes a killing out of Chibuku because that's the sector he's identified. And it's not an attractive business, Chibuku, but he makes a killing. Is that a bad thing, or should we emulate to sell Hennessy?
Question. Thanks, my brother.
Guys, I always say different strokes for different folks. Each and every business has got its own niche. And each and every business, you've got to find that niche. Woolworths have got their own niche, Spar, they've got their own niche, Checkers have got their own niche. But I believe that a lot of people have got this mentality at spaza shops. You know, everybody wants to become a spaza shop until they die. We have to learn to graduate from that fact of having a small little shop. We've got to learn to graduate from it. But every one of us must find their own niche. And you must serve that niche so well. Like I'm saying, the last question I asked you, are you a craftsman? So that guy, he's a Chibuku craftsman. So everybody who wants Chibuku knows where to get it, isn't it? And if you try and copy him, you're not going to make it. So that's what you must do. If you have your own business, be the amazing, be the best, so that when they think about a particular product or service, they think about you.
Good morning, Sanwanani. My name is Prudence Mngube. I'm young, black, and gifted. And yes. And honestly, question iti unemali. Like, no, seriously, like unemali, because I think every time, you know, when people do talks, like it's share something, and today's theme is about solutions. And I'm a businesswoman, you know, so I'm asking genuinely, do you have money? And if you don't have money, do you have resources that you would want to maybe give away as gifts after your talk and after your experience? Since you said you're a talker, I'm also a talker. Do you have connections you can connect us with? But on a serious note, do you have things that you can share with us that are solution-based that we can use?
Well, like NetBank said, you know, it's not about money. All right, guys, you know, I've always said to people, I have about 5 or so businesses. I've never went and looked for funding for my business. I've never believed in looking for. I'm a sales guy. I have a product and a service. I'm going to position it, and I'm going to hustle, and I'm going to knock on the doors, and I'm going to sell it. That's what it's about. Because let me promise you, a lot of people want funding. If I give you funding now, you're going to fail. Because already you're now telling me that you don't have the ingenuity to make it happen. So you're telling me, your blockage is money. I can promise you now, if I give, actually go to statistics, go to SEFA, and find out how many people who have been funded are really failing. It's not about funding, guys. It's about thinking differently and about giving out a service that is so amazing that people show up and pay you for it. That's what it's about. And I can promise you, I've started a restaurant in Tembisa. It's called the Big Elephant. I'm going to invite my good chef there to come and cook. I'm taking over a second restaurant in Tembisa, not with money. Not with money, with sales. Does it make sense? When we started the restaurant in Tembisa, we started it just after COVID. It's called the Big Elephant. And we realized that we needed to find something that nobody else does. We do the normal traditional food, whatever, but our specialty is the tomahawk. We cook the most amazing tomahawk in the Southern Hemisphere. We've had guys from the UK, guys from the USA, guys from Sweden, guys from France, heard about our tomahawk and they came. So that's it. We have a niche product and people come and they pay for it. And if you go to our restaurant in Tembisa, you walk in there, you get the surprise of your life. Tables are set. It's professionally run. There's champagne classes, there's wine classes, there's water classes, there's everything is branded. So when people walk in there, in their mind they think, oh my God. Actually, somebody said to us, you guys have brought Centric to Tembisa, and we said, that's exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring a restaurant in the township that is fine dining, but which is accessible to people. Never went and asked for money. Bought tomahawks, invited people to buy the tomahawks. They liked the tomahawks, bought the tomahawks, and I took that money and I added my own capital, and the business is running. We're taking over the second one, same concept. We're never gonna go and ask for funding. I don't know, that's just me. Because you know, it's the same concept like somebody says, when I die, I'm going to leave insurance money for my children. If your kids can't make their own money, what makes you think they're going to take your money and make it better? Doesn't make sense. So, madam, I can't give you money. I can sit with you, and you tell me what your business is, and I tell you how to shift it so that the product or the service that you have, people pay for it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Samalani. My question is, Mtate spoke about a one-to-one or one-to-many. So my question is that, as a person who has a one-to-one and one-to-many, and is able to balance the two, how do I grow and still make it work? Because My one-to-many is something that is improving on a daily basis. So I'm selling ice blocks. So I used to sell with ice creams as well. So because of load shedding, I stopped. So I've been saving money to buy a popcorn machine because I do not sell ice blocks winter. So it's like a happy place for kids, my one-to-many basically. So gradually with every profit that I make, it needs to buy me something else so that we have more products that we can offer the kids. My one-to-one, I'm a self-taught nail technician and I'm a self-taught hairstylist, but I went for a training course for the hair. So that's why I wanted to ask, how do you balance the two and still grow with mentorship as well? Because I do the books and everything, but I still need some uplifting to say the two I need to balance and I still need the two to grow. How do I go about it? Thank you.
Okay, madam, don't go. I think, guys, you remember I spoke about scalability. Can your business be scalable? So don't fall in love with the business. It's such that you want to become the HR, you want to be Jomoso, no, drive the bus, be the HR, you know, start to collaborate with other people that can do other things. Now your one-to-many, which is your children, whatever, look for organizations or companies that are targeting children specifically to come and bring their products, place them with you. And your one-to-one, which is the hairstyle and the nail, hire other people, train them, but own the brand, but let other people work for you. I mean, many years ago, we used to have Alex hair. There were Alex hairs everywhere. Carlton hair everywhere. Now there's the barbershop, Baby Zorging, Legends barbershop. There's Legends barbershop. You understand? You must graduate from being the person that does it to being the person that operates from a helicopter perspective, where you empower other people and don't be shy to share with people. You know, if you create your branches, let your branch manager or whatever own 35% of the business and you own 65%. Because 65% of 100,000 is 65,000, but 100% of 1 rand is 1 rand. Does it make sense? Always think that way, okay?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nkosinaye Same, and I think you answered my question. But however, I do want to ask, let's say you're an entrepreneur or you graduated, but you don't have funding or you don't find employment. And now you do have skills because we are young, gifted, and black. So, and now you have skills, but you do want to start something like doing your own hair and doing some people's hair. But you say that sometimes funding is not the way to go. For instance, let me say I want funding from NEF or I want funding from SEFA, because I don't have capital to start my business. So in that manner, as a graduate who doesn't have any capital, how can you actually empower or inspire a graduate to say, this is how you can do it, even though you don't have capital?
What business are you in?
Doing hairs, yes.
So how many people have you?
Few, 5, it depends. Okay, because during the week I'm at work, I do work, but I do have people who don't work, but they also do their hair. So I want more information based on that for them. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so I'll take it. I know SEFA is here, NEF, all these funding people, they want to fund people. It's okay. Different strokes for different folks again. But guys, you know, the Pakistanis in the township and the Somalis, I don't know where they get funding from. Do you guys know? Have they been to Nedbank? They have not been to Nedbank. The guys who wash taxis, have they come for funding at Nedbank? I've not seen them. Abo mama bathenga umkhodu on the side of the road. Do they have a business plan? Have they come for funding? I don't think so. I think, like I said, guys, being an entrepreneur is not a romantic story. It's hard graft. It's sacrifice. If it means you must sleep for 3 hours, so be it. If it means you must look for people that you can do their hair and they become the people that sell your brand, go and do them. You know, I get emails upon emails upon emails. Everybody wants to be mentored. Once in a while, we get the most amazing email. We got this email from this young man. He says, Mr. Selekane, my name is so-and-so. I'm in KwaZulu-Natal, in the middle of nowhere in KwaZulu-Natal. I've been following you, blah, blah, blah. I've read this about you, read about you. I've trained myself to do landing pages and to do all these kind of things. I think I can do well on social media to position your brand, blah, blah, blah. Can you please give me an opportunity to show you what I can do? Guess what we did? We gave him, guess what's happening now? We are hiring him to become our head of digital. Because he didn't come to us cap in hand. He says, I have a skill, I think I know something. Can I show you what I can do? Ladies and gentlemen, talk is cheap and money buys whiskey. Show up and find people that can help position your business because you have delivered value to them. If you do hair, why don't go to Connie Ferguson and say, how's Connie, can I just make your hair? Can I just show up and make your hair? And some people say, hey, but she's busy. And I'd ask them, did you call her? No. Then shut up. Because people look at people very far and come up with assumptions. Oh, this person is busy. They will not answer my phone. No. Are you hungry to become successful? You have to gravel. You have to go out there and be vulnerable and just show up. And I can promise you when you do that, there's this powerful thing called providence. It moves with you. That's all I can say. And to all of you guys, some of you really don't need funding. You just need to be bold. You need to raise your attitude. You need to be bold. You need to stop being romantic about this thing if you need to go and make it happen. Because if I tell you go and sell Mohori for 3 days of the week to make money to help you run a business for 2 days of the week, you're going to say no. Because there's a perception, I'm too important, I've got a degree, I can't do this. Wake up, guys. You are young, you're black, you're gifted. But you cannot every day have this cap in hand attitude. Somebody must fund me. That's not how life works. You know, yes, you'll get funding if you've got the most unbelievable thing in the world. But for all of us, we're not Mark Zuckerberg. We didn't start Facebook. We didn't start Microsoft. We have to gravel. We have to show up and prove to clients. Guys, actually, you know, the funny thing is people, I mean, this is a guy with an S in metric who runs a consulting company that operates in 32 countries. How do these people pay me so much money to do the work that I do? Because I showed up and I know what they don't know. Does it make sense? What I know, most of them don't know. Some of my teams, they've got PhDs. I don't have a PhD, but they work for me. Because, you know, the A student works for the S student. That's how it works.
Thank you so much. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, that the legendary Billy Selekane. Please can we give Mr. Billy, lastly. People are here. You've touched them. You've made a massive impact. They want to know more about you, your products, where they can get your books, etc. Please share that with them very quickly.
All right, my social media stuff is billyselekane.com. My website is billyselekanespeaks.com. My Facebook is Billy Selekane. My Instagram is billyselekane_speaks. I don't know these things. My people do them. I don't know. Yeah, but you can check me out there. And by the way, 20 lucky people here. I don't know how you're going to do that. So a couple of years ago, I was invited by a group of top American entrepreneurs to write a book with them. It was launched in the US. It became a bestseller. The book is called Breaking Through. I did not launch it in South Africa because my schedule was tight, blah, blah, blah. We've now printed 50 of these books. It's got 15 or 19 other people, entrepreneurs, sharing their stories. So 20 of you will get the hard copy beginning of the month. So my email address is billy@billyselekane.com. Send me an email and tell me why you deserve that book. Okay? And then I'll make sure that you get it. Wherever you are, it will come to you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. More than, we just invited him to come and give a presentation, but he's given so much today. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together for the legendary Billy Selekane. Hashtag join us for tea, hashtag together Bekele Beke, to our online audience as well.